we've got Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani, Rajya Sabha MP and senior advocate with us. Thanks so very much for being with us. The Supreme Court seems to have said that after going through this order, which is several hundred pages long, they still couldn't understand the reasons why he was given the maximum sentence. How would you look at that remark of the court?
Well, I wouldn't say that they couldn't understand the reasons why he had given it, because the reasons there were in the judgment. But I would say that the Supreme Court found that the reasons were not adequate for a sentence of 2 years.
Now, so essentially, just in legal terms, it means that he is back to being an MP again, he returns to Parliament. That's just a small process, right?
Sorry, I didn't.
I'm just trying to understand, Mr. Jethmalani, what is the process next? He returns as an MP almost immediately once the Congress makes an appeal, right? Or is there anything further that happens?
Yes. Yes. The consequences are that Rahul Gandhi can walk into Parliament on Monday.
Another point that the Supreme Court said, Mr. Jethmalani, is this, and let me quote: the ramifications of disqualification not just affect the right of the individual, but also the electorate. What does the court mean by this? How would you interpret this important statement?
Well, that is to say that since he's a member of Parliament, right, the disqualification also affects his constituency. Therefore, since the part of the judgment on sentence was inadequate, right, they stayed the conviction and said he should continue, because by continuing, not only was his rights being restored, but the constituency had an elected representative. So for that reason, that was the strongest reason for, one was the judge's inadequate reasoning, and the other was the consequences for both him and particularly his constituency. So that is why they stayed the conviction.
Mr. Jethmalani, bottom line, do you not believe that the trial court order was harsh to begin with?
I'm a lawyer. You're asking that question to a lawyer for the complainant.
No, I am, sir. I am.
I have always said that Vishnu, let me tell you this. I've always believed that the offence of criminal defamation should not exist. But the fact of the matter is that it was Rahul Gandhi who has actually mitigated all the consequences of being disqualified. You know that he tore up that bill which Manmohan Singh had passed, which was to overcome the Lily Thomas case. So the irony of the whole situation is that Rahul Gandhi suffered only because of his own, rash acts. He doesn't like the word arrogance.
But Mr. Jethmalani, be that as it may, in our country, among political leaders across party lines, the language and the discourse, let's face it, is fairly abysmal on occasions. Rahul Gandhi got in trouble this time around. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. He stopped being an MP for a period of time. Do you not believe that whatever took place against him was excessive in the context of the remarks made all the time by political leaders across party lines?
Yeah, but the point is, in this particular case, right, there was a lot of malice. I mean, please understand that Rahul Gandhi aspires to the top post of this country. You go on an election campaign and you make a statement defaming an entire community, that is people with the surname of Modi's, and that is, your attack is on Modi, but you say every Modi is corrupt or every Modi is a chore. It's a little rash, isn't it? Don't you think that's extremely an intemperate statement to make?
So there is a reply to that. It doesn't come from me. It
cases
comes
like
from
this.
No, but sir, you made a point. But now I'm just looking at an article which happened to have a response to that, which is what Dr. Singhvi argued when he said, and I quote, "The complainant Purnesh Modi himself said that his original surname was not Modi. He belongs to the Mod Vanika Samaj." I mean, I don't know if Dr. Singhvi is right or wrong, but that seems to be the counter argument.
Well, that's our counter argument is false. So what? He was not born a Modi, but he adopted the Modi name well before this case started in 1988. I'm allowed to change my name, but that doesn't mean that I'm allowed to be defamed.
Would you agree, sir, that the most important...
As a Modi, and that also you
Go ahead.
Yeah. Look, Vishnu, the fact of the matter is, this case makes you think about defamation, because if a senior leader, right, starts reviling an entire community just because they have something in common with the Prime Minister whom you hate, right? You start reviling an entire community, right? And then when you're asked by the trial court, what do you have to say about it? He said, I don't remember making that speech. So for you, it's a hit and run by Rahul Modi. It's a hit and run, right? Now it's unfortunate, right? And I'm not getting into whether the sentence was justified or not. All I will say is, it is unfortunate that the trial court did not give adequate reasons for the 2-year sentence, right?
Sure. One or two more questions. Again, what the defendants or those defending Rahul Gandhi have argued is, how could these remarks have become an offence involving moral turpitude? I mean, how did you argue against that?
But the argued against that section 8(3), where does not require the offence to be one of moral turpitude. There are two aspects. Where any provision requires moral turpitude, the legislature expressly says so in the section.
Yeah.
The Companies Act is an example. In the case of section 8 of the Representation of People's Act, there is no requirement for the offence to be moral turpitude. If it's an offence of punishable with 2 years or more, the disqualification is attracted immediately. That's the judgment in Lily Thomas's case now, right? It attracts immediately.
Do you believe, and this is my final question.
I go so far as to say,
yes,
the reverse must also, hang on a second, I want to say something in favor of Rahul Gandhi. Then the reverse also applies, that if the disqualification is set aside, right, then he must also be reinstated immediately.
Mr. Jethmalani, sir, I think one of the most important parts of what the Supreme Court actually said is that the remarks were distasteful. Do you believe that this is something that political leaders across party lines need to take heed of? That look, don't make distasteful remarks. We're headed into 2024. We know tempers, people get into tempers and they say all sorts of things. Do you believe that what the Supreme Court has said or their views might have an impact, a positive one, on politicians across party lines?
I'm all for restraint and dignity in language used during political discourse. I mean, who can have a caveat to that statement? Any sensible person, any rational person in this country should certainly be all in favor of the terms of political discourse being extremely, genteel and polite. I mean, you can use some strong words, right? But it don't have to be unparliamentary.
Right. All right, Mr. Jethmalani, appreciate your time. Thanks very much, for speaking to us. Thanks very much indeed, sir.